This morning as I'm driving, I'm just thinking about the fact of how the disciples must have felt the day after Friday. You know how it is when you wake up the day after having a really, really bad day, and you realize that your life will never be the same again. Life's events have taken place that will forever change your future. For the disciples, they must have been overwhelmed with the imagery of what Jesus looked like, being whipped and flogged and beaten and nailed to the cross. And this is someone they loved, someone they cared for, someone they had given 3.5 years of their life to. And all the expectations they must have had of what they thought their future was going to be like. And then they have this day that just totally changes everything and shakes them to the core of who they are as a human being, and probably cause them to question, the God and the relationship, and just how is this going to work out to the good. And I've had those days. I don't know. I think we all have those days, right? Where we wake up on the morning after, and I've had those days when I woke up in prison. I've had those days when a loss of my son. I've had those days when the weight of my sin had caught up to me, and I've had those days in my own personal health. I've had those days where you get reports and you hear things that you realize that your life is never going to be the same again. And today, Saturday, is that day that you're just trying to process what's in store for me. But here's the amazing thing I don't want us to forget. This is the thing about today that I want each of us to grab a hold of, is that for the disciples, they didn't see anything going on. They didn't feel like anything was going on. It was a solemn day because their expectations, everything in their life had been turned upside down. But behind the scenes, Jesus was taking back the keys of death and hell. Even when they couldn't see it, he was working. And I just want to encourage you this day that all of these life circumstances that are going on, and for many of us, and from our president on down to the person who what I should just say, all of us, let me just use those words. All of us have been affected by what's going on in our nation and our world today. And for many, depending on your perception of what's going on, it could seem like some really, really bad news. But let me encourage you as we ponder the fact that Jesus is working. If you don't know Jesus, he's working to make himself known in your life. He wants you to turn your heart and your life over to him, and he wants to show you who he is. And if you're going through great tragedy or loss today, maybe you've lost a family member, a loved one, or physically you've gotten some really bad news, or maybe it's your career, your job, or maybe the weight of your sin is coming to a head, and you're having to deal with the consequences of that. Just know that Jesus is working things out on your behalf. There's that song called The Waymaker. I love it because it's a song of declaration. I always picture somebody that's on the side of their bed and the weight of the day is overwhelming, but then they remember, he's my waymaker. He's my miracle worker. Oh, he's a promise keeper. And yes, he's the light in the darkness. My God. That is who you are. Then it goes on to say, even when I don't see it, he's working. Even when I don't feel it, he's working. That's a song of declaration. I declare and proclaim that over your life today. Receive it and know that he is working on your behalf. Turn your thoughts, turn your mind toward him. Surrender everything to him, and know the resurrection Sunday is coming. I've told people lately, I said, listen, I used to have an old life, and then I really had a good life. But today I can honestly say I'm living in my best life because of His grace, His mercy, and His ability to work all things out to good to those who put their trust in Him. May you have a blessed Resurrection Sunday, but even more so, may you be still this day and know, Psalms 46:10, be still and know that I am God. Love you guys.